Hello, welcome to Django Unframed. In today's video, we're going to look at my favorite film emulation in Davinci Resolve, FilmBox. Or more importantly, we're going to look at their new update, FilmBox Pro. Let's jump in. Okay, just to quickly explain, this is not going to be a deep dive into how to color grade with FilmBox Pro or how to use it exactly, and I'm not going to explain all of the functions. What I really wanted to do was just make a quick video, and the reason is that nobody else seems to have made a video about FilmBox Pro, which I find absolutely amazing because it's been out for a week and it's taken a plugin which I already thought was amazing enough to pay for the perpetual license. It's taken it to another level entirely. How they kept this under wraps, how they didn't say anything about this. The amount of times I saw questions in their community saying, are you releasing more film stocks? What are you going to be doing? And the guys at Video Village just kind of went, yeah, we've got a few plans coming up. I mean, understatement of the century, as far as I'm concerned, because the update takes this plugin to another level. And for me, personally, it was already brilliant. Now, I'm not a colorist, a pro colorist in any way whatsoever. I am an amateur filmmaker. I run another YouTube channel on audio production. I'm a mastering engineer by trade. So video, etc., things like that, photography is just a hobby for me. I would say I'm intermediate level. I'm not an absolute beginner in color grading, but what appealed to me about FilmBox was I could very, very quickly get the look that I was looking for. I'm absolutely obsessed by film, by vintage film especially, films from the 60s and 70s and 80s probably more than anything. I love the look of them, and what FilmBox did for me as a intermediate colorist was very quickly got me the look that I was looking for, and that was with the initial FilmBox release. Now with this update, I literally feel I can't put it into words how excited I was when I saw what they'd included in the update. So we'll get into that now. So the footage that I'm going to be using today is just some footage I shot around the house of one of my dogs, Missy, our Yorkshire Terrier. I didn't want to use the normal ARRI or ARRI test footage that loads of people use. And, I don't live in the jungle or in the Alps or anything like that. So my footage is just going to be of my dog. Very real world. And I think this is more relevant because, let's be honest, 99% of us out there probably shoot footage like this. We're not always walking around in the mountains or jumping off cliffs. So here's my dog, Missy, our Yorkshire Terrier. And what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to drop what they now call the legacy version of FilmBox. Straight away, that looks amazing to me. I mean, it could do a little bit of work. One criticism I had of FilmBox was that it can be quite contrasty, so you did have to adjust that. And normally I would do some work before this as well, obviously just to get things balanced before I use FilmBox for my look. But I'm not going to go into that too much today. This was shot on a Sony FX30. So this is just what they now call the legacy version. And at the top there, you had a few options and you could choose from the Vision 3, basically. You had the 250D, 500T, 200T, and the 50D. So you had a couple of tungsten, a couple of daylight films to choose from. And that was enough for me to buy the perpetual license because that was, I loved that. And a lot of the time, the Vision 3 look is what a lot of people tend to go for anyway. So let's just open the advanced settings as well. And the lab. With the lab, you can see there was just vibrance, contrast, and the push-pull process, split tone. Very simple, very straightforward. And, it gave you your results very, very quickly. And I almost love that. And I was almost a little bit frightened when I saw what they'd added, because suddenly it did go from very, very easy for somebody like me to understand and get the look very quickly to suddenly like being a kid in a sweet shop and having all this film stock to choose from. So we'll just close that, or bypass it rather. And now I'll drop FilmBox Pro on this node. Let's put that back into S-Log3. So now straight away you can see that you have a whole bunch of film systems to choose from. You've got the Vision 3, the original one, which is in the legacy version. And you now have all of these expired film stocks, which is Vision 2, Vision, endless. I think in total, with the stills and the cinema stocks, etc., the film stocks, I think it's 98 or 100, something like that. You have a bleach bypass, you have these still photography films to choose from as well. So that's kind of a little bit like Dehancer. That's another plugin that I use sometimes as well. But Dehancer, I still, as an intermediate colorist, it's a lot for me to take on, and I still don't really know it properly, and I've been using it for over a year. So very, very quickly, that's what you have to choose from now. That's what they've added. And say, for instance, if I was to choose the expired stocks, that section camera is exactly the same as the original legacy version. But now we have all of these to choose from here. I'm not going to go through each individual one, but as you can see, there are a ton to choose from. Let's just go back. Let's go to the vintage visions here. A lot of these stocks, like the 5279, the 5246, have been used on countless films that you will be familiar with. So just quickly, let's put this out there. I am not in any way saying, for instance, if I was to find one of my favorite films and it had the Vision 200T 5274, I'm not under any illusion that if I choose that in here, my footage is immediately going to look exactly like that film, because it's not. And I see a lot of people, they'll comment on plugins like Dehancer and even Film Look Creator and all of the other ones, all amazing plugins. Cullen Kelly's new plugin, for instance, Genesis, that looks absolutely amazing. They'll be like, well, it doesn't look anything like film. That film was used in Blade Runner. It doesn't look like Blade Runner. It's supposed to be the same film stock, so this is a lie. But you have to take into account that it's not just about the film stock. It's about the lens. It's about the lighting. It's about everything. It's about the atmosphere that they were shooting in. So you can't really compare. You can't say 5274, find a film that was shot on 5274. Why doesn't my dog look like it's in that film? Well, it's not going to, because the lighting's different, the lenses are different, the camera's different, the color science is going to be different. There's a ton of things that are going to be different. So I don't tend to actually look at this so much and think I want it to be identical, but it does put you in the ballpark. And, for instance, let's just say that I'm an absolute nerd on stuff like this. I love film. I love vintage film stocks. So one of the websites which I use is a website called ShotOnWhat. And for instance, on here, if I was to put in 5246, you can see I've actually searched for it already. What it will do is it will come up with a bunch of films that have been shot using that stock. As you can see, I mean, these are some major films here. Let's take Letters from Iwo Jima, for instance. So you can click on that and it will show you the negative film stocks, the print film stocks, etc. You can see here, 250D, 5246. It will show you the lenses, all those kind of things. So I love all that. And one of the first things I did when I got the FilmBox Pro was literally go through all the film stocks and be like, right, okay, what films was that shot on? Oh wow, okay, brilliant. To be honest, there were a few of my favourite films which those film stocks are not modelled or emulated, whatever word you want to use, in FilmBox. But of course, they can't emulate every single film stock. But there's enough there to get going with. So back into Davinci Resolve, you have the Ektachrome as well, which I think is what they model the bleach bypass on as well. Let's just bring up the exposure a little bit on this. So with the bleach bypass, you have a whole load to choose from here. You can have a subtle effect right through to full-on Saving Private Ryan effect. Probably have to bring the exposure up a little bit more for that. And then you can go into these still photography print stocks, film stocks rather. And it's just endless. I mean, I used to shoot, I don't shoot, obviously don't shoot film anymore. I wish I still could, but it's just, I live in Dubai and it's too expensive. And I don't actually even own a film camera anymore. But being able to get in the ballpark with some of those films that I used to shoot on, it's amazing. I mean, for instance, some of the let's just go to the black and white ones, for instance. I used to shoot on HP5 a lot. I used to shoot on Acros a lot, T-Max 100 a lot. And, whether or not this looks exactly, I mean, that's actually pretty good, to be honest. That does look quite nice. You have all these Acros. That was my favorite. Oh yes, I did used to like that a lot. Very nice indeed. So you have all those film stocks to choose from as well. And it has some reversal as well. The slide emulations. Obviously you could change that to 16:35 as well, but that was the same as in the legacy. I just want to touch on the things that weren't in the legacy version. They've got a couple of fun ones down here as well, which I think were quite fun. The Instax monochrome one is a bit over the top. I don't think I would ever use that, but you don't know. Some people would use something like this on if they were doing reels for TikTok or whatever, or they might want a particular effect. Elite Chrome. I mean, these all just look fantastic. And just being able to flick through them really, really quickly is really useful. But this is nothing really new. Dehancer has done this, and there's a bunch of other things. Cullen Kelly's new one has also got a whole load of film stocks to choose from. But you didn't have it in FilmBox, and I loved FilmBox. So adding these film stocks to it, to me, just took it to another level. So some other things which they've added as well. I'm not sure if it's going to be easier for me to show these in here. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but one of the things that they added, obviously you have a lot more choices in halation and color and tone, because originally obviously you only had the Vision 3. So now you've got a whole load of different things to choose from. You can mix things up. But in the halation, they have added Aura, which I think I read has something to do with Cine Still. I'm no expert on this, but it's another option that you have on the halation. It's really fun. I played around with it the other day on some footage I took close to my house at night time of a load of neon lights, and that was really fun. So you've got extra options in the halation. I think grain, obviously you have loads more to choose from in the grain. I don't think they added any options. I mean, they've upgraded their color science. They said that as well. In lab, in the original legacy version, you only had, actually, let's just go back up a second. That's my toolbox going off. Let's go back to Vision 3 and we'll choose 200T and we'll go back down here again. So in the lab, originally you only had vibrance, contrast, and the push-pull emulation. Now you have color density, which is really nice. I used to use a DCTL, is that right? DCTL, is it DTCL? DCTL from Mononodes for color density, and I do still use that. But now you have the option in FilmBox as well. It's slightly different, but it's nice to play with, and very quickly you can get some nice results from it. Split tone is the same, but like I said, they have worked on the color side, so that's slightly different. The printer lights is a massive new addition because that didn't exist in the legacy version. I'm no expert on what printer lights do, but I know there are some people out there that will be, but very, very quickly you can dial in some really nice looks using the red, green and blue on the printer lights. And I'm not sure how to say this. Is it acutance or accutance? Perhaps in the UK it's acutance, in the US it's accutance, or the other way around. Either way, this is another addition. And if you quickly look on the Video Village website, you can see here what it actually does. I'm still learning what that means. And there's the Aura option that they've added in the halation there as well. So it was to do with Cine Still. It's really fun to play with. So back into Davinci Resolve, and if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, this is slightly different as well now. best thing to do is to read what they've written on their website. But basically, originally it was full, standard, and custom. But they have slightly changed what these actually do now, and you've also got this additional extended telecine as well, telecine. And everything here is very, very slightly different. But it's probably best to actually look on the website for an exact explanation, because you're going to get a better explanation from there. But basically, all these additions have just, for me, taken what was already an amazing. Yes, you can do that. I was just wondering, on a PC, if you hold down Alt and press one of these arrows, it closes everything back down again. I used to do that on Enhancer quite a lot. Yes, sorry. So it's taken it to another level for me. I already loved it, and I love it even more now. And it's going to take me months to go through it and get to know the film stocks, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And if that perpetual license or the subscription price was a stumbling block for you, then maybe now it won't be, because it is a lot of money to spend on a plugin if you're just a hobbyist. But the way that I weigh it up is, it's not as much as I would spend on a lens. It's not as much as I spend on a camera body. It's not as much in my profession as a mastering engineer that I would spend on some plugins, on my headphones, on various outboard equipment. And what it is it's a tool that helps me do something. It helps me do a job, and helps me do the job quicker and work smart rather than work harder, as they say. And for me, that justifies the price. But it is still a stumbling block, and it was definitely a stumbling block when you only had Vision 3. But now I think with all of these extra film stocks, and if you think that it's half the price of what Cullen Kelly's Genesis plugin is. Now, I'm not comparing them in any way. Before you jump on me and say, well, you can't compare them, they're two different plugins. Cullen Kelly does this, FilmBox does that. I'm not comparing them. I've never used Cullen Kelly's new Genesis plugin. It looks absolutely amazing, but right now I can't afford $2,000 for another Film Emulation plugin, and I'm super happy with FilmBox now, especially now that they've released this updated version, which incidentally was released on exactly the same day as Cullen Kelly's Genesis. I don't know if that's coincidence. I'm not trying to stir up any trouble here, but it was released on the same day. And I was looking at Cullen Kelly's plugin and thinking, I've got FilmBox already. I love it, but Cullen Kelly's has got all these film stocks, and I've got Enhancer already, and I was weighing it up, and I was thinking $2,000. It's a lot of money. And then literally 10 minutes after that, I saw that Video Village had updated FilmBox to FilmBox Pro, and it blew my mind, absolutely blew my mind, because of everything that they've added to it. I don't know how they kept it under wraps, because it is absolutely amazing. So just to sum up really quickly, that's FilmBox Pro. As I said about 1 million times in the video, I already loved FilmBox, and this has just taken it to another level. I'm not affiliated with Video Village at all. I paid for FilmBox and Scatter, another one of their amazing plugins, with my own money. I'm not affiliated or sponsored by them at all. They don't even know that I've made this video. But take a look at it. I'm really looking forward to seeing some other YouTubers put up some videos where they're using it. Guys that are better at coloring than I am, better at editing, better at shooting, shoot better footage, and can probably give you something a better representation of how good this plugin is. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. But thanks for watching. This is Django Unframed. Till next time.